What's going on, Flicks Talkers? Welcome back to another movie review, this time for a Netflix film, The Lovebirds. I'm going to let you guys know a little bit about my likes and my dislikes, as well as the history of releasing this film in these times. But before I do all of that, make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up if you guys do appreciate movie content like this, and make sure you hit that subscribe and bell notification for more. A couple experiences a defining moment in their relationship when they are unintentionally embroiled in a murder mystery, as their journey to clear their names takes them from one extreme and hilarious circumstances to the next. They must figure out how they and their relationship can survive the night. Alright, now this film did come out on Netflix May 22nd, 2020. Why that may be a little confusing, I'm going to show you the poster right here and look at that release date. It's a little different than May 22nd, right? So the whole deal with this was that it was officially getting a release in theaters, but due to what's going on in the world right now, movie theaters being shut down, it was not released. And after seeing this movie, guys, I'll let you know, I think it was more suited for streaming, but I'll get into that in a second. Now, let's start off with some of my likes and the positive for this film, guys. You have Issa Rae, you have Kumail Nanjiani, two comedians that I really enjoy in their separate work. I also saw Issa Rae more recently in The Photography, which wasn't a comedy, it was more of a drama romance film, but Kumail Nanjiani just absolutely soared in my eyes in Stuber. Being the comedy klutz that he is, I thought he fit in that movie perfectly. So definitely check out Stuber if you guys can. It's a movie that I personally own and recommend. But these two definitely felt like they've been in relationships for 4 years, which we get to see on camera. They're arguing, they're bickering about the smallest, minute details. And in the beginning, we're shown the birth of their relationship where they're really, really lovey-dovey. And if you guys aren't in a relationship, that's really kind of what it's like, guys. I mean, you do get comfortable after a while, and sometimes that leads to the non-spontaneous moments or kind of the lackluster of the romance dying a little bit. So if you're in a relationship, you gotta work on it. But the couple in this film, Jabran and Leilani, are constantly bickering. They get embroiled once again in this murder mystery where some mishaps happen and they feel like they're gonna get busted, so they go on the run, and it's a hideout and them trying to uncover the real truth. Now, next up for another like of mine is the setting of New Orleans. New Orleans looks like an absolute blast, a fun town, a place I have never been, but I would love to visit now that I'm seeing it in this movie. I've seen it a couple of times in other movies, but this one definitely set the scene for a city that's more laid back during the day, but at night it's really pumping. You know, we have a lot of interaction going on, you know, with nightclubs or their friends. So we get to see a little bit of that going on, as well as the grittiness of some of the street life. So I definitely appreciated that in this film. And as far as my likes go, that's about it. So I'm going to jump directly to my dislikes because I feel like my dislikes outweigh the likes by so many. So let's just get right into it. So first off is the fact that Jabran's character has to always constantly be explaining different, minute, mundane items, or the jokes being extremely stale, and they just go on to extreme, extensive lengths, especially when they're fighting against someone else. He gets jokes thrown in there that are so cringeworthy. You're trying to focus on fighting and them getting out of these situations while he's throwing in these one-liner jokes, and it just gets impossible and unbearable to watch the scene sometimes. Something so dumb of Jabran explaining why they give you extra milkshake when they bring you out a milkshake, to why are there still cigarette lighters inside of your car? It doesn't matter. Who cares? Why is this even in the script? Next up, a huge disappointment and a missed opportunity for some of these co-hosts, mainly that of Anna Camp as Edie and Kyle Bornheimer as Brett. Now, these were two characters we got to see very briefly on screen. I loved Anna Camp in Pitch Perfect, so I was like, cool, I would love to see what kind of clever wit can she throw in this role to make this comedy dynamic pop a little more. And she really added nothing to this picture. She was a villain someone that was torturing them. You could see it from the trailer, and that's about it. She had no real explanation, too much for her character. We didn't get to see her later in the film. There was a lot of plot holes and things that didn't even end up with an explanation. They just kind of dragged on once again, and it was blah. That's it. That's all I could say about this movie was blah. Now, keeping on the topic of bad writing, guys, you get a lot of SJW political jokes that just don't land. I mean, they're forced, violently, just boom, 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 knocked in your face, and it didn't seem natural whatsoever. Most people walking around day to day in the streets don't really talk like this. I mean, maybe I'm a little more laid back than most, but this just seemed really crammed and forced. And last but not least, guys, for my dislikes was the very bad cliches and the predictability of this movie from beginning to end. I already kind of knew where it was going to end up. There might have been maybe a little twist where I was like, okay, bad guy's not here. He's going to have to show up in the third act. And he did. But ultimately, and there's no spoilers involved, guys, we find out that they have to work together because they're a couple that's going through a rocky relationship right now. So working together is going to bring them back together. Oh, how original. All in all, guys, I feel that this move to bring this to Netflix streaming was the best thing they could have done because they're going to blame it on COVID. But man, once again, this is the best move to bring it to VOD, guys, because this in theaters would have flopped. This probably would have gotten $11 to $13 million opening weekend. I guarantee it. They would not have had a great return in theaters. So I think the best next move was to release this to a streaming, and Netflix is probably the best home for it because Netflix has the shittiest comedies. Yeah, I'm saying it. So all in all, guys, it took me a while to watch this. Now, I'll explain the process. So I woke up at about 6 a.m. right before work, started up my coffee, sat back, and I started about 45 minutes of The Lovebirds. And I absolutely hated it. Now, when I was coming home from work, gave my girlfriend a ringy-ding-ding on the cell phone and said, hey, do you want to see Lovebirds with me? She said, yeah, the trailers looked fun. Can we watch it together? So I re-watched that first 45 minutes till I caught up, and surprisingly, I appreciated it watching it the second time. I actually paid attention. I wasn't on my phone, and I think sitting with a significant other really does help in these times of quirky couple comedy, romance, thriller, or whatever you want to call this type of movie is. Because in those times of them bickering and fighting, we kind of looked over at each other and we're like, yeah, we do that all the time. So in that sense, I had fun because it was relatable. But if I was going in this as a single comedy lover, someone that just appreciates film, this falls flat on all angles. Now, I didn't mention it before, but this is directed by Michael Showalter, who directed The Big Sick. That also had Kumail Nanjiani starring in it. Now, The Big Sick was a fantastic movie. It was definitely up there, 4 out of 5 for me. Also a writer on Hot American Summer, so I can't understand how the writing fell so flat in The Lovebirds. All in all, guys, I would say this might be good for a drinking date night. Maybe you're with somebody that you've been with for a couple of years or so, and you just want to kick back on the couch, have a couple of drinks, have some wine, whatever is to your tasting, throw on this film, Netflix, and chill. You might have a decent time. Once again, these scenes went on too long. They were just not funny, at least not funny enough for me. I know comedy is subjective, so on that note, you take it as it is, guys, but I got to give Lovebirds a solid 2 out of 5, saying I will never watch this movie again. All right, guys, did you appreciate my review? Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe and bell notification for more like this. Thank you all so much. Till next time, I'm gone. Peace.